A big good evening, gentlemen, and a big and a warm welcome to you to this VAF Gurus Life 11 edition. And the title is very special. The title is Make in India during the COVID era. And this is the time when we have to get together to not just discuss and rattle out the problems and the challenges that most of us know. The very purpose of this discussion today is what are the solutions to those challenges and the problems that we are facing, because people want not just the challenges, they want the solutions as well. So without further ado, I will just share my screen, introduce our VAF gurus in today's session, and also the topic that we are here for. So let me just share my screen. All right. So this is our website on which we had posted information of this session today. The title, of course, is Make in India during the COVID era, VAF Gurus Live episode 11. In fact, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, this discussion, this series, we started on the 28th of March when we were just a couple of days in the lockdown. And, we're just about to cross 1 million views of this series. And all these episodes have been around, what we have to do around lockdown, what are the challenges we are facing, what are the solutions across different topics. So today's topic is Make in India during the COVID era, and the people powering it are Mr. Vijay Kalra. He's the head of Mahindra Institute of Quality and chairman Central Safety Council for the group, and he's also the winner of the best production head at World Auto Forum Awards last year. Friends, World Auto Forum Awards are the awards for the best auto CXOs, and the research partner is IIT Delhi, and we've been doing them for last 8 years now. And Mr. Kalra had won the best production head award last year. And of course, we have Dr. Sajid Mubashir. He's a scientist G at the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, a very established scientist of our country, and a person who is spearheading the research, development, and taking the technology to the mass scale for electric vehicles, for batteries, and for the charging infrastructure. Then we have Mr. Amit Gupta. He's the President Business Excellence at Uno Minda, and he is an automotive components industry veteran. He handles and he heads critical functions like purchase, like production, business excellence. So a lot of things we'll discuss today around Make in India, around procurement, around operations, and we couldn't have a better set of people. And of course, it's me, Anuj Uglani, CEO at World Auto Forum. So these are our beautiful annual partners at World Auto Forum, friends. Our gold partner is Gallups Motors. They are the leading retail chain for automotive companies. They represent various auto OEMs across the country, and they're known for their customer experience. Then we have MotorUncle.com. MotorUncle, friends, is a group company of World Auto Forum, and it is a website for the confused car user buyer and for the hassled car service customer. And you also get great deals on cars at MotorUncle, especially during these days when lots of deals are available even more. Our OEM partner, friends, is VW Volkswagen, the leading car maker of the world. Then we have Amplus Solar. Amplus Solar, friends, is a company which is on a mission to transform automotive, power to solar. So the dealerships, warehouses, factories in automotive, they want to power all of them with solar. Hence, they are our annual partner. Then we have Shell. Shell is world's #1 lubricants company and also one of the best employers across the world, and they are our lubes partner. We have K2B Learning, a leader in corporate training, enterprise learning solutions. They are our partner. Then, of course, our associate partner is Jubilant Motor Works. Jubilant Motor Works is part of the Jubilant Group, the Hindustan Times Group, and they also have dealerships across the country of various brands, and they are known for great and experience. And of course, our media partners, amongst our media partners, we have Autotech Review. They are the leaders in automotive technology. And of course, Patriot, which is a newspaper more than 6 decades old with a fine lineage, started by our revered freedom fighter, Srimati Aruna Asaf Ali ji. So these are our annual partners. So now coming to the topic in hand, which gets us here today, that is Make in India during the COVID era, and a few key points I would like to discuss today. So the top discussion points. Point number 1, R&D to mass production. How has the equation changed? EV, make in India, yes. What is the make for India dream? Then manpower versus automation, the balancing act. This is the time when we were probably the most open to automation for obvious reasons. What is our story and our future plans? Then making supply chains resilient and dynamic in this era when any area, any city, any town can be a containment zone, and our supply chains have to be resilient and dynamic to handle those shocks. Then how do we make hygiene hygiene? We've seen the tag time, we've seen the cycle times, getting affected, hygiene issues, social distancing, physical distancing, you know, so sanitization. What is the effect on the production, assembly line, the cost of operations and manufacturing? Then quality, precision, and state of the art in these times because we cannot compromise our standards, can we? Then generating sustained demand with optimized spends. In fact, as we were discussing our pre-discussion time, we were saying at the end of the day, it all boils down to simple word, demand. So the demand is there, lots of things can happen. So how do we generate that? Then ironing out the production disruptions for obvious reasons that I mentioned. Then yes, physical distancing must, but being socially closest is the first. Friends, as part of VAF Gurus Live, 2 months back, we had also done a session on mental health where we got the top psychiatrists and psychologists of India to speak on VAF Gurus Live. And that's what they had to say. They said, we have to be physically distant, not socially. Socially, we have to be the closest. Otherwise, we will lose this battle. And of course, how to practically collaborate with banks, suppliers, clients in a never before way for win-win. So these are the 10 points that we wish to discuss. All right. So I will stop sharing my screen. And without further ado, let's go to Dr. Sajid Mubashir to start this discussion, especially as he mentioned the points 1, 2, 3, 4 are of great relevance for him. So Sajid sir, all yours.
Hello. When I saw that list, I knew that it would be my turn. So I looked at the participants list. I think a couple of people I know. That's very nice. And I think they would say that obviously he's going to talk about electric vehicles. And really that's my plan. So I'll explain why. You see, when you look at the post-COVID situation, the big thing about COVID is not just what we hear its impact. It's about it is so infectious that the situation has changed for at least for some time, too drastically. You cannot really go back to earlier situation anytime soon. Because, so we have to really prepare for this situation now of social distancing, and whatever we are experiencing now, maybe in a little diluted manner as things go along. It won't be such a panic. I'm just putting off my thing on a telephone. But I think what we need today is what's going to exist for some time. So social distancing is important. And in that context, the electric vehicle has a great potential. Imagine this is something which doesn't make a noise. It is non-polluting, that we know. But the advantage is a small electric vehicle, you can actually carry it in your drawing room, in your office. It doesn't make any problem. You can drive down the corridor. So it's a different kind of vehicle. In fact, I often wonder, is it going to kind of this last mile, all those kind of issues are going to kind of morph because this vehicle can go anywhere, even a big vehicle. So social distancing via electric vehicle seems a distinct possibility. And it looks like India, where we already make vehicles smaller than everywhere else. And we have, millions of these two-wheelers, three-wheelers, small cars. So the potential is there. But if you look at it, we are not all that new to electric mobility. I'll just come to the point very fast. We have this Reva car for 15 years, more than everyone else. And the only other electric vehicle around at that time was Tesla. Of course, that's a different comparison, but we are that old. And today, we haven't reached anywhere much, but we have seen that growth. Electric mobility is not a new thing for us. We've seen how Tesla has grown. We've seen how China has grown to become the #1 in the world and how others lost out as well. It requires a lot of doing. It requires a lot of painful effort to build the supply chain. And it is not an easy thing. So during this COVID time, when we are sure that there is going to be a transformation, and the nation has already declared a transformative mobility plan. I think we have to just get down to it and develop it. Of course, when you say R&D, it could be bigger D than the R, because we don't have much patience to kind of develop things now. But still, there is sometimes a requirement in our research. For example, when you bring electric vehicles to India, I mean, Mahindra has faced it, others have faced it. Minda has a battery practice. You know that this battery is going to face 10 degrees more temperature than anywhere else. Now we need our battery. We can't just take the battery which is working well in the tropical climate. So those things we need to do. We need to do some research. We need to do some development, particularly fine tuning for our country. And it is not that you can start putting air conditioning system everywhere, in a two-wheeler or a three-wheeler. It's not going to work. So there is a great opportunity for research and development. And the country has already taken major initiative. We have the 50 gigawatt hour production capacity. All these things are built up. But what is completely lacking is the supply chain. So I'd like to focus on that topic, and like it is opening the topic here to say that we need to focus on components, size for our vehicles, and we are prepared to invest money to develop what we require in terms of the tropical climate in all its sense. Fortunately, we don't drive too much, so we can afford to take liberties with the kind of system we can. Say, for example, if there is a fast charging battery, like I think what the Maruti is going to opt for, you can use that as a USB, even for two-wheelers and three-wheelers, and not try to pack a week's worth of battery and charge on the vehicle, So those things are available to us, but we need to work for ourselves, and this situation is not faced by anybody else. Even China is cold. All the other countries are cold. So the problems we face, whether it is a motor, we have rare earths. We can work with rare earths and make our own motors. The entire chain can be built here. So it's about an unbroken supply chain. It's not that we want to be the Atmanirbhar, want to carry too much that everything we'll make ourselves, but we must have the competency. Then we can trade with others. So that's the idea. So please.
Exactly. So Dr. Sajid, you rightly mentioned that supply chain is a challenge for the Make in India of the EV dream. But even if we set the supply chain in place, what about the R&D? Because unless we have, as you rightly mentioned, the competence and the know-how, how it needs to be made, how it needs to be localized, how we need to be Atmanirbhar in terms of the batteries and the motors, which can, stand those temperatures. So something on the R&D part as a precursor to manufacturing and procurement.
Okay, let's take from where things we are familiar with. Look at Maruti cars. I saw Ivy House up. That's why I'm mentioning, Look at Maruti. They are coming out with such great cars now. It's completely designed in India. So we have the competence. In fact, the mecca of or the person, Dr. John Goodenough got the Nobel Laureate Award in 2019, and it was for his work in lithium-ion battery. Now he's written an essay about South Indians and battery research, particularly lithium battery research. His lab was full of South Indians. Today his lab is run by Professor Mantiram, who is speaking today, right now, at the ISGF forum. It must have started at 5 o'clock. So it's full of Indians. I have been searching because I have developed this research and development mission plan. We are ready now with the DPR. We're trying to go ahead. It's all about components. It's looking at the battery. So I'm finding that there are so many of these battery researchers in various institutions which we never knew. We can't say that about motors and other places, but there is enough competency here in industry, in whether it's motors or power electronics, you find more in the industry. And battery, we are not bad. We can develop if we put everybody together. Of course, it's a beginning. We have to start from now. We have to provide them facilities. There has to be massive facilities. So we are planning. We want to talk to the auto component companies. Of course, we're talking to Mahindra. We want to engage the entire supply chain people, bring in new talent, and work on developing a new kind of battery suitable for India. For example, the Travancore Titanium Company produces so much of titanium, and the titanium battery, lithium titanium battery, is supposed to be the ideal thing for our kind of a climate. So we will look at that. We will look at things like which doesn't need lithium, like sodium ion, aluminum ion. Surprisingly, there are people in India who's done it already, some things. Then, of course, we will try to also catch on to, we have scientists who can talk about ceramic battery. So we're trying to put them on the job. And I think these things will take about 3 to 4 years. A few batteries might come out in a couple of years. Rest might take more time, 5 years or even more. But everybody spent that time. China spent 2 decades. Tesla themselves spent 2 decades. So we have to spend that.
Great.
And post-COVID is like, it's not immediately after COVID. I mean, it's going to taper off.
So, Dr. Sarja, do you feel that by 2030 we'll have a homegrown Tesla, which even the real Tesla looks up to?
You might have the best auto rickshaw in the world, or the two-wheelers, unsurpassed. A three-wheeler auto rickshaw, originally designed by, I think, Piaggio. So it's a 300 kilogram vehicle, 300 to 400 kilogram, and it can carry that many kilograms of passengers. It's a very unique vehicle. It can be designed in different ways. We must capitalize on that. We must capitalize on the kind of small cars we have, and we can be unbeaten there. Electric vehicles have to be small because you have to carry battery. So we are maybe better off than, you can have a Tesla performance in a small car.
Okay. So rather than focusing on the luxury or the top of the pyramid, we should focus on mass moving vehicles, which should be smaller and which can actually reach the grassroots level, if I'm not wrong.
Smaller and smaller. Post-COVID means each individual might need their own vehicle. Might. So then you can't afford a bigger vehicle. You need a smaller one. So we are looking at components. The companies here can talk about vehicles. We are talking about China being the only center where you can get the rare earth magnets from. And we are saying that we have rare earth magnets. We are able to process it. But there are some gaps in the chain. Like we have the oxides, we don't know how to make it into metal. So we have to put scientists on that. So we are planning a 20 ton per month magnet production plant. It's a research plant, but fairly sizable. So people can actually make motors and vehicles with that. We are talking about a 50 megawatt hour battery. It's not a big size, but from the research point of view, trying to introduce new things, it's big enough to run a small fleet of electric two-wheelers or three-wheelers. So these are our plans. We plan to build world-class research test laboratories, prototyping facilities, test benches, which will have commercial users. That's the idea. And about 50 topics have been selected. I think about 15, 20 of them, the industry, we expect them to run. And this is not something we will run for the ministry. We want to create hubs, this kind of a thing. We are really looking at a long-term game from the government to produce electric vehicle components. In a way, people have the freedom to design the vehicles whichever they want, but it's a capability building program.
Great. So that's a great point, Dr. Sarja, that we have to focus on the capability of making components in India. Because if we can have that capability, of course, the finished vehicle should not be that big a challenge. So when we talk about the finished vehicle, so we have to get Kalra Saab in this discussion. So Kalra Saab had been leading the production function of the Mahindra Group. There were 8 plants which were reporting all to him. And now he is, of course, the head of the Quality Institute and the Safety Committee for the entire group. So Kalra Saab, from your vast experience of manufacturing, production across the country, so many companies, you know what we are facing. It's very unique, happens once in 100 years. What should be our recovery plan for Make in India, according to you? You have to unmute, Kalra Saab. Yes.
So, Anuj, I mean, there are 2 ways to look at it. One is that we were doing something, this COVID situation has come, how we come out of it and how fast we come out of it. But I think when we talk about Make in India in general, then this is a very small phase of 2 or 3 or 4 months now. Okay, the basics have not changed. The basics are same. I mean, and for me, if Jerry, if you can just load that sheet for me, PPT, and I just wrote down some 3-4 sheets today. And basically, while I am talking about Make in India, auto is part of it, but I'm not only focusing on auto. Okay, because I think the basics remain same. For country to be, when we talk about Make in India for all the industries. So, Jerry, can you just move to the next slide? So it, for me, it's Make in India is synonymous with competitiveness. Okay, and pre-corona, post-corona, nothing changes. Okay, especially, I mean, on the last slide, I've said that corona is a problem is level playing across the world. Okay, so if you are competitive, you have not lost anything. Okay? You have lost, I mean, you have a problem to manage for 2 or 3 months or 4 months, but then you have not lost anything. Okay, and so it's all about, okay, whether it is auto, and in auto also which segment. I mean, general auto we can't talk about. Which segment we want to really play, and how we gain competitiveness, and then how we retain it. Okay, my feeling is gaining still is difficult, but retaining is even more difficult. Okay, now what is country's competitiveness when it comes to industry? When we are saying make in India, that means industry in the country is competitive and take on the world. Okay, and what is that? That is sum total of the companies you have and their competitive strength, how they stand as compared to world in all walks of life for the offering or product they are talking about. Okay, and if we go to granular level, even that nuclear units now, Minda has many units. Okay, each one of them, okay, how they are competitive, and that becomes a sum total, and then you say that my country is this thing. Typical when we talk about Japan, whether we look at Japan, Toyota, whether we look at Nissan, whether we look at Mitsubishi, whether we look at Honda, look at supplier base, the whole ecosystem is relatively competitive. Okay, now, and we will talk about how to get competitive edge and retain it. And then for building competitiveness, you can have short time support from government or something, no? Okay, artificial support. But this should not, it should be time bound. Okay, otherwise it leads to complacency and causes concern. You will lose that whatever you have got. Okay, it will be artificial complacency or happiness that we are competitive. Okay. To some extent, China is facing that. Okay, not that great, but it is facing it. Okay, can we move to Jerry next slide? So my feeling is that we need to select a segment. Okay, and it is not, we means it's not government, it's across the country a charge for that. Okay, this is the area where we have to gain. We have a tendency of trying to get into everything and feel that we will become competitive. Okay, and there we have to have some relative strength. Okay, I mean, I can't be doing what US is doing, what Europe is doing exactly same, sitting in India and feeling that I will be competitive more than that. Using same technology, same machines, same everything, okay, and then going for automation. Okay, my strength of country is maybe our brain power, our ability to think logically, which has given us strength in software. And as Mr. Sajid was saying, maybe we have a chance to really make something of our own. Okay. Okay. Second strength is the people we have, and the diversity we have, and the market we have. Okay. Now we have to define targets to win. The problem is when you look at the targets what we take, I mean any company or something or as a country, we take targets which are mediocre, which even if you are successful tomorrow, okay, you will not reach there. No, it is something like that. Our cricket times of test matches when India used to play for draw 15-20 years back. Okay, first session, and then we were sure that chances of winning are less, so let's start playing for draw and start looking at rain gods, that they will come and support 2 sessions. Some spinner will ball 20 overs without giving runs, and then somehow we will escape that day. Okay, so you can't really play for draw if you are trying to get this thing, no. Okay, Then the most important is when you set your target in all walks of life. Okay, we were talking EV vehicles also. Okay, you have to take a target that, okay, the world competition you will be able to service only if a customer gets the mileage what the guy is looking for it. I mean, if it is 100 kilometers, 120 kilometers, it's not going to work, okay, in current world. Okay, so what is that? Okay, then the tendency is to look at our resources, what we have, and say, this I can do. And that becomes a target. That doesn't take you anywhere. Even if you are able to succeed, there is no buyer for that, no? Or we have limited buyer for that. So you fix your targets item wise and then try to put resources around that. It may call for getting some new facilities. It may call for paying money, huge money for technology. It may call for getting some expats to come and help you, anything. Okay, but you have to be sure that I have to be there. Okay, then track it in small intervals. Delhi Metro is an example of a person who led from front and tracked it every day. Okay, they were not really strong. I mean, their understanding of that subject, I don't feel was as good as around the world, but the passion and those things were there. It is very important to accept some yellow and reds. Okay, say, yes, I have an issue here. In place of putting it below the carpet, no, bring it on the table. And no good plan has any value without a great execution. Okay, we may have great plan, but if we don't know how to execute, it has no value. Okay, maybe I'm a manufacturing guy, so I have bias for that. Can we move to the next slide? Now, the second thing which is most important, okay, is retaining competition. Okay, competitiveness. What cars I was making 50 years back, 20 years back, or 10 years back, what was looking great that day may not be great after a year. Okay. So my targets have to be moving targets. Okay, I should keep on doing benchmarking continuously and see relevance. Okay, even in R&D areas and research, if my target is X and somebody has already achieved that, okay, and is trying to work on that, I cannot wait for the day first I will achieve that and this thing. Okay, that always keeps us as followers. Okay, and followers cannot be leaders. No, Make in India means you have to be leader in some segments. No? Okay, then the most important element here is timing. Okay, otherwise I am chasing. Okay, and if I am chasing, again I am not there. So agility and speed becomes very critical. Can we move to the next slide, Jerry? Now, what are critical differentiators? There is a tendency, maybe Anuj, you have not faced it, but you get into any webinar and people start talking that if you have a problem, answer is digital. If you have a manufacturing issue, answer is Industry 4.0. Okay. If you have uptime issue or productivity, answer is automation. Okay. These are not answers. Okay. These are enablers. Okay. Your objectives and enablers have to be distinguished. Objective is the customer gets the best experience from your offering or product. Objective is the company should be lean to get the best. Okay. I may be doing the same job manually, and if I am able to get the right output and I am cost effective, why not? Okay. My quality positioning, these are this thing. Okay. Even if I'm looking at other things, carbon neutral can be objective. Solar can't be objective. Okay. Okay. So I have to see that if I can just reduce consumption of power is more important than moving to solar. Okay. Then you have to select the right tool. Okay. Now tools don't give final results. Tool are means. When Tendulkar was going his bat and the bat of somebody else who was going, they were same. Okay. The tool is only a means, is not the ultimate. Okay. Ultimate is use of that. Okay. So how do you use the tools to get the best of it? The phone in front of me. Okay. My son's ability to use it 5 times better than mine. No, even this laptop. So it's a user which differentiate. Okay, you buy a tool, but people. So finally, it is people which are differentiator. Okay, and how to align them to get best of them. Okay, this COVID was the best time for us to make them on our side. A small care and not paying the amount total money, but a small care and pat on the back and saying that I am there with you. A call in the evening could have changed the game. No, for many companies, I'm sure many companies are saying how to make partners in for the purpose. Okay, if we are talking EV, if we can charge those guys. Okay, I remember when we delivered first EV, that 3-box car Verito. Okay, we have not slept for 15, 60 days, and all those 30, 40, 50 guys were rallying behind me because we said that we have to beat this date. We will be making first 3-box car for the country. Okay, so I'm just saying, make them part of purpose. The most important thing, okay, all those great companies where we give example, okay, they are able to sustain and move because they come out with something great and different. Okay, and ability to have that thought doesn't lie with only few who are knowledgeable. It lies with entire mass. So how to get brain and mind of all the people around us. Okay. And then how do we celebrate their skills? As I said, it's not the tool. Okay, the user makes difference. Okay. We celebrate the waiter. Okay, you appreciate waiter. Have you forgotten that cook who is sitting inside? The cook makes the difference. Okay, not the waiter. Okay, can we move?
I think that's the last slide, if I'm not wrong.
Very just okay. No, I think it's one more. No.
One more. Okay, this one. Remember?
Yeah. So now come to COVID. Okay. For me, COVID has not changed any basic. The basic of attaining and sustaining competitiveness, which is very, very critical to talk about Make in India. Okay, whether it is in R&D, that we continuously improve and find answers which are our own, okay, which become differentiator. How do we manufacture? How do we support customers? Entire value chain. Okay, we have to strengthen it and keep on doing it. And it is more people, this thing, not some tools. COVID situation is another awakening call. Okay. Okay, that has given us a chance to, somebody has reminded us that you are talking, but you are not delivering. Those are wishes. They are not supported by an action plan, which is tracked every day, okay, and tweaked to be there. Okay. This crisis should not go waste means we should really go. Okay. The most important thing, it is not a major issue because pitch has changed. It has changed for all. Okay, in 5-day match, after 3 days, it rained. Okay, after raining, everybody has to play on a pitch, which is this thing, which is wet. If it was only for us, we should be worried. If it was only for one industry, we should be worried. Even in India, if it was only for one part of India, we should be more worried. That is, and it's a time to reinvent, work hard, and come back even stronger. I mean, that's what I feel. Okay. Thank you.
Great, fantastic. I think, Kalra Saab, you couldn't have set a better tone for this Make in India during COVID era. I'll just stop this. Okay, so stop the share. So I think those are great points and a great summary over there that the basics have not changed, and we should actually take this as a wake-up call, COVID, and it's actually a leveled playing field now because everybody is affected equally, because at the end of the day, we are all humans. And it also shows our weakness or vulnerability. We are all equally vulnerable. We are equally weak. Whether it's a security guard or a tycoon, we are equally vulnerable to COVID. So that's such a leveler. Actually, it's the best leveler of sorts. This actually makes it a leveling field. And Kalra Saab, I really like that point of not to play to draw. Barish ho jaye, ye ho jaye, wo ho jaye. Typically as kids, as what we used to, dream and pray before the exam. the teacher is absent or something goes wrong or if somebody falls ill or whatever. So great point, Kalra Saab, and of course it couldn't have come from anyone except a veteran like you. So switching gears, so coming to Mr. Gupta, who has worked for so long in the component sector. So we've heard from the OEM side, we've heard from the R&D side. So now, and also as Dr. Sajid had mentioned, that components will play a key role for Make in India. So Mr. Gupta, all yours.
Yeah, thank you, Anuj. And when you bat after Tendulkar and after Dravid, I think while the field setting is good, but I think expectation also goes up. So I hope I can play the role of Lakshman, and in the true sense, as a younger brother as well as probably the batsman Lakshman.
Surely.
So I think Kalra Saab has set the tone, and I think it's very well said. I will only say that one of the biggest change which we have observed in our industry during the COVID time is, I think we have digitalized. I think auto industry or the automobile, I think we were so used to of going to our office, going to Gemba, and then only we felt that things can be done. But here we are seeing a change that you can still do things while working from home. So that was another big taboo, that work from home in the manufacturing industry is not possible. So I think these are the, I will say, a mindset change which is coming in. And this mindset change is not only going to help in terms of digitization, but it is also helping us to think differently. I will just share that recently I helped my top management to go to Gemba virtually. So we did a virtual Gemba. Anuj, is there a problem? Am I audible or?
Yeah, loud and clear. You're loud.
Okay. So meaning we could do a virtual Gemba, and that was so refreshing because it was earlier it used to be very difficult for top management to go out and visit plants, but here now you can do it virtually. Now obviously the effectiveness will not be as good as by being there with people and trying to understand them more, but yeah, this is also a possibility. So I think this is definitely one crisis which we are trying to leverage. We are seeing a mindset change in terms of being more competitive. We have been able to come out with a plan where we are able to reduce our break-even point because while that is also need of the hour, but looking at long term, I think that is what we feel we require also. If you want to make in India, and I will also challenge ourselves that why not make for the world, meaning our mindset will have to be make for world so that we can at least make sure we do make in India. We'll have to shift our game. I will start with quality. I think quality will have to go to a completely next level. Our OEMs, I think Mr. Rao is here and Mr. Kalra is here. I think the expectations in terms of PPM has changed to zero defect. So that's a mindset change, and I think that is what we have to carry forward. We will have to really come up with export quality plan, because once you start thinking from that point of view, then I think it will help in moving towards a process which is more robust. It will help us think through that if I have to be competitive for the export market, how do I bring my efficiency further? It is helping us to think about automation as a solution to the competitiveness. So there are multiple things which we should look at while we are saying make in India, make for India. Let us start thinking make for the world. Because another point I would just like to add is, because of Euro 6, today we are technology level, we are probably having again a level playing field. And to leverage the investments what we are doing in the Euro 6, I think it will be again very important for us to reach out to the world, not only in India, because this is something for a quicker payback we'll have to do. So meaning I think the thought process will have to take a next level up, and I'm sure with the guidance of the OEMs around and with the acceptability of I think the Indian cost or Indian competitiveness, I think we are seeing more and more export. Just an example is the way I will say Bajaj and TVS has displaced the Chinese two-wheeler OEMs in Africa or in Latin America is another example of if you get things right, you will be able to rule the world. So I think I'm just trying to set the context that this is possible. If we plan for it, we will be able to do it. We will have to, only thing is that we'll have to balance between the short term, which is probably COVID driven, to a little medium term. We will have to invest in the right things. We'll have to invest in people so that they can create the right kind of plan, right kind of execution model with which we can really be championing for Make in India. I think automotive industry is one of the most competitive industry in India. And I think it is our responsibility to take it to the next level. Some of the challenges which I kind of foresee is, I spoke about quality. Other thing is about the supply chain management. We have like typically most of the automotive industry is around 25% to 30% or maybe 30 to 40% imports. And out of that, in many cases, we are looking at imports from China in the range of 10 to 20%, depending upon the kind of product. So there is a need for a very collaborative plan to be made between the OEMs and auto component, that how we will de-risk the supply chain. Because at the end of the day, many actions of many localization projects which auto component companies will need a note from OEM. So I think there is a need for a very structured plan which we should develop, like 2 year, 3 year, very clearly saying that this is the percentage of localization we will be driving or the import substitution. If not, if we can't localize, then probably we'll have to de-risk with other countries. We will have to also probably understand the supply chain better. And what will be very important is to have a balance between what we do from the import substitution as well as what we do from the supplies which come from abroad, is also the hand holding of our suppliers. I think the OEMs have taught us the right things to do, but I think it is now on us as a tier one to really upgrade our suppliers. And in case of tier one, many suppliers are MSME, and they need to be really hand holding has to be done. We need to make sure that we identify the right ones. We work with them in a 2 or 3 year plan where we say that this is the milestone with which we will work and this is the level at which we want, so that we can really truly be competitive, not only in terms of cost, but in terms of the quality, in terms of delivery, in terms of really meeting the global expectation. So this will again call for a very structured way of working. And Mr. Kalra said that a plan backed up by solid execution. So all this has to be the agenda of top management of the organization. And they need to make sure that this is followed through. And then we kind of take these steps, make sure that we have periodic reviews, and the targets are set challenging, which kind of force our team to think beyond continuous improvement. I think we'll have to look at continual improvement, and this is the time. So
well said.
Anuj, you want to say something? Yeah.
Those are very valid points, Mr. Gupta. But you know what? We have also seen, like I will not name, but I was talking to a couple of companies and their MDs. For example, you spoke about training, hand holding the suppliers. I hear a lot of MDs and CEOs say that they have cut their training budgets. They're not doing any of their own employees training also, or even if it is only in-house. So when it comes to, on one side, practically, they are cutting budgets for their own employee training. How would they be actually hand holding the suppliers or even their dealers for that matter? How do
you are right. You are right, Anuj, that this is typically things which may be happening. Maybe the quarter 1 of this financial year, obviously it was too bad and tough for people to look out for other options. But at least I can say it from my experience in my organization that we have made sure that our suppliers are being meaning we are hand-holding them. We are having monthly visits to our suppliers where we are helping them in terms of recovery, in terms of productivity, in terms of ensuring that their COVID preparedness in good shape. And we are having a very kind of a detailed plan on the upgradation. And what we told them is that we will take a pause, say till July and August. Let us focus on recovering at a pre-COVID level in terms of the productivity, in terms of the delivery level and quality, and then we will restart the upgradation journey. And on training, I think what in our organization also we have done kind of review that what needs more focus. So based on the key areas which we have identified are going to be important, say like productivity. So a lot of training programs we are doing for productivity or for quality improvement. So I think our focus right now is more on the skill building, and we have taken a pause on the leadership program, which typically were also being done outside, but we are trying to keep a balance between what is important and what is something which we can still manage to defer for some time.
Fair enough, fair enough. So now that we have completed all the speakers, now there is a common question I want to throw. Okay, so please feel free to respond to it. So Kalra Saab had spoken about competitiveness and people being the main asset. Even Mr. Gupta resonated the same. And Dr. Sajid spoke about competitiveness and components being the centerpiece in the story of Make in India, Made for India. I am sure all of us would agree on this. We would have all heard, hey, वहाँ sale लगी हुई है. भाई किसकी sale लगी है? वो those are export reject clothes. अच्छा. So what does that mean? I'm talking about several years back. So even then, export reject clothes used to be deemed and taken as very high quality clothes at a fraction of a price. And what are they? They are export reject. The clothes which could not meet the quality standards for the developed countries from India for export, they were being rejected and sold at a throwaway price and was a very attractive proposition. So when we talk about, we making a beeline for export reject stuff in India, how can we transform in being India quality, which is actually the global standard or the gold standard in quality? That this is not export reject or export quality, this is India quality, which the entire world can take as the gold standard. If we have to do top 3 things for this, what shall they be?
Can I go with this?
Sure, sir.
So we can't assume when German companies are kind of bringing their cars to India, they're bringing inferior cars, or the Japanese do that. You see, Mr. Kalra talked about targeting the world level of quality, global level of quality. That in a way is in India itself. The cars are not any inferior. You have all those cars coming right here. Now, I want to give an example because I think this is getting missed out. And people might say, is this a place to talk about a long-term thing? So then where is the place? We could never talk about long-term in the FAME mission or automotive mission plan. They're all about very, very short-term things. There was never a talk about long-term. The long-term is about investment. I want to give an example which I saw in newspapers just the other day. The Olympus company, which has been leading in the camera business for 85 years, has closed. They had to give up their camera business and sold it off. So what are they doing? They've become 70% of the world in endoscopes.
Okay.
Endoscope is also a camera.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's what is competency. You may lose market, but if you're at a trading level and just manufacturing, there is no way this transition can happen. So I'm still taking on from what I said, and I want to end up with this thing about mentoring. So a few things I want to say here. One is that we have had some interactions with Japan and Germany. Particularly Germany is a big surprise. The intensity of small companies, like Mr. Kalra said about competition, intensity is too much. For example, in Japan, you have consortia of all kinds. So the consortia means a supplier to Toyota. He may not get he may not supply to another company. Because there are so many of them, you can tie them up.
Kairetsu, that's a Kairetsu
And-
principle.
Yes, and interestingly, in a research consortia, even a bank, dedicated local bank, is part of this. Research institutes, all of that. So there are just too many of these small companies around who are highly competent. So we from the Science and Technology had gone to Fraunhofer Labs, the world's largest technology group. And the evening, one of these days, one of those evenings, we had the interaction with the small companies there. So they called me aside and said, why are you talking to Fraunhofer? We'll give you the technology. Small company, 5 people, 10 people group.
I know.
There are many of them, right? Now, this question of mentoring companies and partners, we have to extend it to R&D institutions, because like suppliers, they can only give certain things. Beyond that, you have to walk up the way and meet them. Researchers can only give you unpolished knowledge, but very deep insights.
True.
Right? Somebody has to go across to them. It's a relay race. In fact, there is a technology readiness level starting from up to 9 levels are there, and the higher levels are all about industry. A professor or me, I can't bend it. I saw this. I can tell you a very simple example. Geyser ka wo tube, I bent it, it broke. The plumber comes and does it very nice. There are industrial practices. People make there are industrial practices that professors need not know. They need not understand. They need not learn how to make a battery finally, right? They have to concentrate on the material. So the industries, unless they collaborate at various levels and bring in a lot of small industries, our weakness will get exposed. Like for example, look at Germany. Aren't they the leaders of automotive sector? Now they're struggling. They're feeling the threat of Tesla.
True, true.
He'll get exposed if we are not having technology competence in certain areas, at least where we can compete. And it's like a boxing match. Everything will look fine, but suddenly one guy gets knocked off. The weakness got exposed. So we should not happen to us.
True.
We are a huge country. We have all the wherewithal.
Absolutely.
We use the 3rd largest number of research papers in the world. Are you aware of it?
So a lot of
Why are you not 3rd largest?
a lot published, for sure.
And only US and US and China is ahead of us. We are more than Japan or France or anybody. That's a kind of, and some of the areas we are kind of quite leading, quite good. Nanotechnology, for example. So I wanted to point out that I'd like a bit of discussion on that. This hand-holding, it is not enough. The OEMs themselves can manage, but it is shallow. Unless your component sector is competent, and for that competence, you need to drive with technology people. So the definition of technology I want to say about R&D and technology, it is about producing something in a plant and having the machinery to produce it, the raw material to produce it, right? So if you don't know how to make that basic slurry to make a battery and have the rolling things to make the battery, there's no point of any, it's not called technology. So that's what I'm talking about. There's a lot of industry participation in technology.
Right. So Dr. Sajid has mentioned that we publish the largest number of research papers in the world. But why are we not the leaders in technology when it's put in practice? In fact, it reminds me of what Dr. VVS Kurian had mentioned several decades back when he had said that India has the largest cattle in the world. But why are we not the largest producer of milk in the world? So
absolutely, that is exactly the thing. We have the largest number of cattle, but the cattle doesn't create an industry, right? It is somebody else who's got to kind of bring in that supply chain and all that. We haven't focused on that. So cattle can do the job even now, but who's streamlining it and organizing it? And there's a lot of electronics. I found this company called REIL, Rajasthan Instrumentation.
Right.
I asked them, what is their business? They said, we were the ones who do the instrumentation for the milk supply chain. We need people like that.
Precisely. So getting Kalra Saab in this conversation, Kalra Saab, you've just heard that we are producing the maximum research papers. We need to focus on components. How do we actually become the leader? How can India quality be the gold standard? Not German quality, not Japanese quality, India quality. According to you, Kalra Saab.
Yeah, so a coach sitting in, I will again go to the same cricket ground and a pavilion. A coach sitting in pavilion, okay, can direct, but it's a player who scores. Okay. So application of knowledge gives value. Okay. The problem is that are you getting enough inputs which can be metallized into money? Okay, because it's finally, okay, it's the investor. If tomorrow I go and buy some shares of any company, I'm looking for return. I'm not looking for that, telling him, that guy, that okay, because you're new, you can take 5 years to give me return.
True.
Okay. So whole equation has to set right. Second is that I don't know, because I mean how our country started and all those things, we have a typical mindset of talking about 5 steps and 10 years. Okay. By that time, within that 10 years, the goalpost moves for 20 years.
True.
Okay. So you don't have that choice. Look, I mean, leave China, okay, because we love talking only China. Leave China. Look at Korea. Okay. Korea was at the same level, no? Hyundai was at the same level as some of our companies in the country, no?
True.
Just 40 years back, 35 years back. Okay. Our Prime Minister goes to Korea somewhere around 46, 48, 49 and gives them donation for basic feed. Okay. You go and look at their 10 years old balance sheets and see the leaders. Most of them you will find BComs, BAs, not very few little engineers. So it's not only the knowledge, technology, and all those things. Okay, it's a belief that you can do it, and it's a resolve you want to do it.
True.
Okay, we started bullet train 5 years back. Where it is? Okay, same thing can happen in 5 years, and then you can improvise on it. No? So I mean, trying to do too many things. Okay, I mean, I don't know. I mean, in defense, we are talking from how many people are involved in defense in India?
So I have a question.
Yeah. So
just looking at Vietnam walking away with a lot of things which we could have.
Yeah.
And even Bangladesh walking away with our textile industry. So what is happening? Why is that happening?
Yeah, it's happening because the whole system is working in such a way. They are not because they know more of technology or they are better equipped. Okay, they are doing the just basic job. Okay, Vietnam is just doing the basic job. I remember those. I mean, Vietnamese company which we are talking big today in auto. I mean, I have twice trained in my life those guys. No.
Okay.
Yeah, in our companies, and they are at basics. They are not really at this thing, but they are working hard to meet that. No, and we are talking about work-life balance here. Okay, so that I'm saying our strength is people. Our strength is hard work. Our strength is mental. This thing, no. Our strength can be passion. Okay, and we have to just use it and move on. No.
So what do we need to instill?
No, sir, is it possible by chance? I'm just asking. Yeah. I'm an outsider. That are we doing too much of trading?
No, I don't feel that. But yes, I mean, a 50-year guy saying that I'm still learning, I mean, that's fine. Okay. But you have to deliver, no? It's all about delivering. No, finally, you should be paid for not that you have a good knowledge and you are a very strategist, but how much you deliver at the end, no?
Sure.
And things like this, no? Like again, I mean, most of these things are level playing. They will not make us. Make in India has to be synonymous with make in world, because if you are not competitive in all walks of life, including cost, then only way to stop others is by putting trade barriers or putting duties. That means you become even more uncompetitive.
Okay.
So you can't be like.
Let me talk about again back to technology, because sitting in
Q&A with the participants, they have been waiting for last 1 hour.
Let's see. There's about 15 minutes left for that. Yeah. Let's have some questions. Yeah.
So if we can just give some opportunity to our great attendees who will listen to us patiently. So friends, if you have a question, just raise your hand and we'll get you in the conversation. You can ask it yourself. If you have any question, otherwise you can always resume with our conversation. If you have any questions, just raise your hand and we'll get you in. Else we can just resume our conversation.
So raising hands, you have to be on the right-hand side on the, that menu.
The attendees, yes.
The attendees.
So I think no questions for the while. So Dr. Sajid, please continue.
Well, I lost the plot a little bit there. But the key thing about component sector, it's an incentivization. It's very critical. Yes. Now you see, we said third largest research papers being produced in the world, and I sit in these places where a lot of funding happens. In fact, the entire funding for R&D, a lot of it goes from my department.
All right.
Now, the incentives we give is resulting in people producing the papers.
Mm-hmm.
To be more specific, if a professor does his job very well and he comes back, most likely our committee will ask him, we gave you the project, where we come back again.
Mm-hmm.
This is a serious problem because there should be incentive for that man to stay in that project and go again and again and do more and more of that and refine it further, and he should be funded many times.
True, totally agree.
Since it is not given, and he's got more incentive to take on a new project and get a new funding, he will do that.
That needs to be changed.
Are you kind of created a structure like that? The MSMEs will not do anything new, and they will only copy and give you the best thing at the best price, and that's the only thing that you're incentivizing. You have to look at that.
So,
there's a huge set of SMEs here. Do they have? Because I worked with them.
So
ACMA, I'll just complete this.
Yeah, sure.
ACMA leadership once asked me, why do we innovate?
Why do we?
Innovate.
Okay.
Saying, don't bother us, because why to innovate? Who is going to take it? At some time, 10 years ago, I had a leadership talk like that.
Okay.
So the incentivization of people in the chain developing and giving you things, and when somebody innovates, is a big company willing to take it?
Mm-hmm.
I know in the government we will not take it. We ask for 3 years balance sheet before purchasing anything, and people are trying to change it. Government is the biggest market. That market is close to any innovator, because 3 years balance sheet, 3 years of results you have to show before you can even think of it. And the companies does that. Everybody does that. So the innovators have no incentive.
So Dr. Sajid, two things come to my mind immediately on this. Just the way in the Supreme Court, you have a AOR concept, advocate on record. If any advocate wants to represent his or her client in the Supreme Court, they can't just walk in and start representing. They have to have an advocate on record of Supreme Court, help them facilitate the process, because the AOR knows the entire process of the Supreme Court and no time should be wasted. Likewise, if a big company with a 3-year balance sheet and all those things in place, compliances mandatorily needs.
There is an example. I can tell you. There are 2 examples. We send rockets into space and it works. Chandrayaan bhi chalta hai.
True.
We are able to confidently say we'll explode an atomic device and it works without doubt. There's a whole lot of private companies working there to support this, small and big, sometimes big, but many small ones. And there is an arrangement in the defense and in the atomic energy setup, the common kind of policy, that you call a person, give him a job, and assure him 12.5% profit. Do the job and come back. Of course, they put on all their thing, they're very strict about it. And even the person who gives the job is observed that it's not a corruption happening. All that system is there. But this 12.5 is led to our rocket going. Otherwise, where do you get all these things? Scientists are not making the screws and nuts and all that.
Exactly.
Everything is made outside. Everything is by companies, small companies.
So these very small companies, if they can be as a mandatory, a factor, can be incubated by the bigger ones who have all those compliances in place.
So there is a policy of consciously going out and finding guys and giving them this thing that whatever you do, we give you 12.5% profit, right? You may or may not succeed, but we are not going to penalize you for that. Then people come forward. I think there has to be some kind of a thing, at least in some areas where you want. You need to go out and incentivize and say, please do it. It has been done. Maruti did it. They developed this entire thing early days. Cycle companies from Ludhiana was brought into Gurgaon, and they, what are they make now? So I think we need to revisit it.
And my other point, which I want to submit, was to the honorable panelists and to the people who are watching, and now and later on WAF TV, that if, as Kalra Sahib had mentioned, if we can shift the goalpost, if the criterion should not be the number of research papers, not the quantity or the variety of topics, but the quality, the depth, and how much of it can be monetized and the innovation can be at the ground level. If we can change those parameters, at the government level, at the private sector level, I think a lot can change. Instead of just the research papers being there published, they can actually be at the ground level. And Mr. Gupta, something I want to say on that, how your organization probably is connecting to R&D for the project, which might be, funded by DST and the government. A lot of funds is going, by the way, in this. A lot of effort by capable scientists like Dr. Sarjan. A lot of their personal time goes into it, So what is the level of industry adoption? If you can put something on that. Mr. Gupta, you need to unmute.
Sorry, this is a very valid point. And I think what we have realized in last few years is that while our R&D centers are focusing on coming out with new technology solutions, especially which are applicable for India or for even the OEMs abroad, we found that we probably were not monitoring well that how many of them are commercialized. So now what KPI which we have introduced is that we will also be tracking number of patents which have been commercialized. So the idea is that we not only become happy with our R&D centers having patents. I think important will be that those patents should deliver business value. And that is where I think the thought process also then will change, because then you will have to choose on critical few which will really be worth commercializing. And I think another thing which we are now as a group we are trying to do is bring more collaboration among the various R&D centers across the world. So while we have R&D centers in Europe, in India, or in other countries, we are trying to bring more synergy. And we are also trying to reposition our engineering centers as back-end office or back-end CAD centers or the CAE centers to something which is more kind of technology focused, product focused. So once we have that kind of synergy, then we can identify which R&D center which will be focusing on which kind of product, which market, and then build that kind of environment where there is a collaboration and there is also a clarity on who will work for which market and which product.
Great. And there's one more thing for which I'm really...
Let me just come with one point.
Sure, Kalra sir.
I remember those out of those 10, 12 points, there was one point of hygiene. Okay. Normally, whenever we talk, we are talking hygiene. Okay. Like today's world, everybody is talking about work from home and how it is equally efficient, if not that effective, is still okay, and how it will give us lead. No, it will still be hygiene, because it is not only you. Okay. If Mahindra guys are sitting on screen and trying to do work, Maruti guys are also doing. Okay. If Mahindra guys don't do, then they will lose the battle. But if they do, they just come to hygiene level. But that doesn't give you core competence to become competitive.
Right.
Okay. It is something like you have a hospital in Delhi which has all the right gazettes. Okay. But finally, if you have to go for a major operation, you are still saying that I want the right doctor to use them. Okay. So I mean, नाड़ी पकड़ के उसको वो तो समझ में आ गया, but what drug you have to give? Okay. So that's a differentiator. I'm just saying that whenever we talk, most of the things know. What we talk is that somewhere in the world, somebody has done something, which is becoming a talk of the town or something become a norm, and somehow I should catch up to that. Okay. But that doesn't give you anything on top of it, no. So not in all fields of life, you can't be making all components and doing it well. Okay. But there can be some where you have to be leader and somewhere you can be not a leader, still a follower, still getting from China, nothing wrong. But we should be able to give back to the world also something. And I think component industry on it, and we were talking about two-wheeler, they have done a lot on this area. Okay. But I think we have to take a huge aggression, scale up these things. No.
True.
In trying to do too many things, we should just say that if something I have is my strength, why not I take it? Why can't we export cement around the world? I mean, it's not necessarily that you have to have only one industry or something. No, and Mr. Amit was saying rightly, till we were BS4, okay, BS6 was not something. Now, once we have adopted, and maybe we have learned from people, maybe we are still importing components, but we will reach that level. No? So if you are behind, then you have to leapfrog. No? You have to jump to go ahead. No? Otherwise, you will be behind. Now, whether I lost the game by 1% or 5%, you lost the game. No?
True.
And customer has become binary. Okay. There was a time, I remember you were also one time with part of the same team, we were there, and we used to talk about that if I just bring this product, I have a fair share of 5%, 10%, 9%. There is nothing like fair share. Either you will get it or you will not get it.
Mm.
So speed is the key. Okay, we cannot be walking the way we are walking.
So Kalra Sahab, I heard you say these keywords: people, speed, execution, and focus. So these things surely are the need of the hour. And yes, when it comes to China, yes, if we can take it as an inspiration, that okay, if we don't have to take it from China, what's the plan B? That we need to have our own capability. And yes, we can also give a very innovative scheme to China. That for every rupee that I give you in business, you have to give a part of that as a cash back to the Indian Army's welfare scheme.
So if we go back to COVID, now our minister is the Minister of Science, Health as well, right? So the question comes to us very strong. What are you guys scientists doing? And we're desperate. We threw everything we have into it, but it's not going to happen. A vaccine cannot be produced by the time you are at the hospital gate and vaccines to be made. We are struggling. We put all we have in there. We have got kind of our mechanism is being completely geared towards that. In fact, all my colleagues have become very knowledgeable in this whole thing, trying to but vaccine will not happen.
Mm-hmm. So this talk of 15...
let me just complete that. There is an important point because it takes time. It needs a base, and we have big agencies, but whether it's a vaccine or equipment, PPE is okay, clothing and all that can happen. But even a ventilator is not just a pump. People are made to ventilators, but it is not that. It's a very different thing altogether. You can't just pump and inflate the lungs and make like a balloon. There is a different.
to take it.
Now,
Anuj, I think there is a couple of questions in the Q&A. Maybe I think we should take that.
Yes. So Mr. Praveen has asked. I was just about to come to that. Mr. Praveen, in fact, a lot of it is already covered. But yes, if we can throw some more light, we just have a minute to go now. So focus on localization, standardization to suit the Indian customer, users, and what can be the government support in terms of subsidy. I know it's short-lived, but yeah, subsidy for a few years. If we can have our views on that. Yes. Very, very quick.
Very quickly, some thoughts from my side, Anuj, that I think we probably will have to go into the mission mode and we'll have to really identify 4 or 5 key areas. I think one will be definitely the world-class quality. Other will be competitiveness. Third will be supply chain simplification. I think you have listed some of the 10 points. We can identify these 4 or 5 points, and ECMA and SIAM together should kind of drive this just to kind of channelize everyone into the same thought process, because otherwise many of us are trying to do things, but the impact will only come when many of us will be working with the same thought process. So 4 or 5 things can be identified by ECMA and SIAM together, because we will need that synergy between the OEMs and the auto component, and then we work on them. I think Mr. Kalra has rightly said, focus on critical few and then go whole hog, do it world class, and then I think next 2 years reach that milestone and then take something different.
Absolutely. So once we get back into action, we will need a whole host of new COVID warriors to get our teams up back into action, back in place for the best productivity, quality, and the manufacturing excellence and know-how, so that actually Indian quality is the gold standard and the entire world comes from Make in India. And Made in India is the gold standard. So with this, gentlemen, it's already, our time is up for this conversation. So thank you so very much for your beautiful, powering, motivational thoughts and the key focus areas that you have lined out for us so beautifully and clearly. And let's also thank Mr. Jerry and our team for beautifully organizing and coordinating this beautiful session for us. Thank you so much, Jerry, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to everyone, sir. Thank you. It was a great thought. It was great learning for us, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jerry.
And thank you, Kavla Saab. Thank you, Dr. Sajid. Thank you, Mr. Gupta, for your beautiful thoughts. And they will go a long way. And we shall publish this on WAF TV on all our social media channels. And the entire world should listen to them and watch you. And thank you so much, our dear attendees. A lot of people are familiar whom we can see. We can see Ivy Rao Saab. We can see Abhay sir. Abhay sir is my super senior from IIT. So great discussion. Thank you so very much for making it. Thank you so much. Thanks a ton. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Brother.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.